when LSU lost to Ole Miss, as college football fans are wont to do, anytime there's a painful big loss, there's immediately talk of firing the coach, right, and wanting to move on.
Mhm.
I was of the opinion that I don't know that I agreed, and for a few reasons. The first of which is purely economic. Like credit to Penn State, apparently Adidas may have stepped in some form or fashion. There's varying reports there and helped them pay that $50 million to James Franklin. But LSU, Louisiana in general, is not a particularly rich state. LSU does not have a particularly wealthy alumni base, maybe in comparison with some of the other schools in the country. And so the idea of paying someone, I think for Kelly now, it'd either be 60 or 50 million. It's the remainder of his contract. The idea of paying that amount of money to a guy not to work in the NIL era seems insane because it comes with the opportunity cost of every single dollar that you spend for somebody not to work is a dollar that could have been spent on acquiring talent. Like that's two elite rosters. You can even stretch that three elite rosters. So I thought the Kelly conversation was a complete non-starter. Unfortunately, or maybe not, but like in talking to LSU fans since, it kind of seems like the majority opinion is that they are kind of done with BK a little bit, and that maybe my hesitance to do so was in the minority. I think also, though, it's not just like, look, I think the national media might have a bit of a weird view on LSU, and it's in that yes, there's three national championships since the year 2000, and yes, they feel like a contender potentially every single year. But if you actually look at the results, 10-win seasons and above are the exception, not the rule. They just happen to have this certain je ne sais quoi where every now and then a warlord arises and unites the clans and you run over the rest of the country before you fall back into infighting and drama. So I guess what I'm getting at is Kelly may not have reached the ceiling back to me to yet, but he does bring a competence that has an objectively very high floor. And there's something to be said for that, a little consistency and stability in this very tumultuous age of college football that we currently live in. So I think the answer is complicated, but I think the idea of him being hired away certainly makes it more interesting because you basically take the economic factor out of it. And if you were to ask, I think if you were to poll LSU fans today, if they would want Penn State to hire Brian Kelly, even though you could definitely claim that it's nonsensical and it comes with entirely too much risk, I think a lot of LSU fans would probably go ahead and hire him. And then they're also suffering from the disconnect of, in 2023, you had a national championship offense with the worst defense in
Mhm.
the entire country. And this year, it looks like you have a potential championship caliber defense with an offense that is just deeply, deeply flawed. And quite frankly, I don't know that I see too many solutions on the horizon.
It's just as you talk though. Let's be honest about the college football landscape, right? Like Penn State wanted to get rid of James Franklin. You're talking about LSU not really loving their head coach. It was a year ago that Ohio State fans were like, if Ryan Day doesn't win this year, he's done. They're still Ohio State fans. They're saying, can't beat Michigan, get the bum out of here. Like, how many schools are actually happy with their head coach? It just feels like this is such a weird problem for the entire sport to have that we're just going to end up with this revolving cast of coaches and fan bases that are always pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, again, and this is where we get to the emotional nature and I've done this job for so long, and it's so right. Coach loses a couple games, and it's like, this guy's been on the golf course all summer long, or this guy's running around, he's talking to girls, like what's going on here? And then let's say you beat an Alabama, and I freaking love this guy, dude. All of a sudden, all the group text shut down, the message boards chill out. But honestly, this is what college football coaches should want. It's what we all want in life, right? We want a meritocracy. We want to be judged based on what we accomplish and nothing else. And that's what's great about sports. It's one of the few true meritocracies that we have left, in that if you win, you control how we talk about you. If you lose, you do not. Now, I think as an administrator or an executive in this sport, you have to be wary of that. You have to be you kind of have to guard against some of the emotions of the fan base and recognize that, hey, maybe we don't need, because like these head coaching changes come with so much risk. They're 3 to 4 year decisions that the price can get, in the range of $50 to $100 million. And if you don't get it right, you're going to set yourself back half a decade. And so to me, I think I kind of err on the side of caution a bit. Like I understand why Penn State better get this next hire, right? And I heard you talking the segment before about just hire the best guy. Well, who's the best guy? Right? That's what everybody loves saying. Like if somebody's arguing against like affirmative action or something, hire the best candidate. Well, okay, we draft first round quarterbacks that fail all the time. We hire can't miss coaches that fail all the time. Like you know whether their guys succeed or not. It's impossible. And people pour millions of dollars into trying to figure it out. So it's yeah, I don't think that you want to be too reactive when it comes to these decisions. Now, that said, I don't think Penn State was, right? I think this is a long
Mhm.
time coming. I think there's a lot of elements in play. I think buyouts are the real evil here. Like buyouts are the real problem. Jimmy Sexton, the shadow lord of college football, has finagled a system where they just have so much leverage over these schools that these guys get contracts assist anywhere else in the real world. It's insanity.
Yeah, I mean, the best job in America is a fired head football coach. Like
But
James
the cruel
Franklin
irony
and
is, sorry, Caroline, you know what the cruel irony is, though?
no.
Is that the thing that leads you to be great enough to get that buyout is the same reason why you can't be a normal person and just enjoy the buyout. For the most part. Coach
100%.
O, Coach O may be the
Unless you're Coach
exception. But
O.
like, I mean, if you give
We'll
me
take it.
$50 million, you ain't ever gonna see me again. Or if you do, it'll just be like doing a podcast for fun because I can. I guess Jimbo's kind of treated pretty normally as well, right? I think he's just kind of chilling out on the ranch, enjoying his 70 mil. But like for the most part, these guys, like Franklin wants to jump back in. Dabo was threatening Clemson
Mhm.
with jumping back in. So yeah, it's like they have that money and then they can't even enjoy it.
Yeah, that is true. They're wired just a little bit differently. But I want to look at just kind of the SEC as a whole because we have two undefeated teams in the SEC, both in the top five, that both have a tradition of pants pooping. Ole
Yeah.
Miss and Texas A&M, both 6-0,
Yes.
both in the top five. How reliable are these two teams? Like how sustainable is this level of winning for these two teams, or are they just going to fall back into their tradition of pooping their pants?
I think Ole Miss appears maybe a little bit more overrated than A&M does right now. I've kind of given myself over to this A&M team. I think they are elite on both lines of scrimmage. I think
But we do
Marcel
this every
Reed.
year, T.
No, I know. Well,
We
well,
do this every year with A&M.
to be fair, I feel like the last few years I've just continued to make the 8-4 jokes that it's going to fail, and maybe I'll be first in line to point and laugh. But there's a few different elements here. I believe in so the Mike Elko hire from the beginning was a bit outside of what A&M's done recently. It was kind of a blue collar hire for a culture that needed a little blue collar toughness. Then they go and hire what I believe to be the best strength coach in the entire country. I'm biased. He's my favorite coach I've ever had, and that is former LSU strength coach Tommy Moffitt. I know that dude's going to get a team to be tough, and you're starting to see it on the field. So you know they have the talent they always have. They just haven't followed through. Now I think they have a head coach that is better at instilling a little more toughness in this team, maybe taking advantage of that talent. They have a strength coach that's definitely going to do that. They're great on both lines of scrimmage. Marcel Reed's a very exciting athletic quarterback that can throw enough and gets to throw to Craver and Concepcion, who are two of the best receivers in the entire country. The defensive line is one of the elite pass rushers in the entire nation. So I'm measuring what appears to be objectively on paper a complete team that should be great against the burden of their past, right? And so I've kind of given myself over to believing that this team will indeed actually end up above that 8-4, won't crap their pants, and will end up being a college football championship threat. But you know, this is where it starts. It's this end of October through November. This is when these things are really decided, when you figure out the real mettle of a team, the mettle of a man, and we're gonna figure out with Texas A&M.
Are you ready to buy in on Bama as they stand now?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've really had to. So I hate Alabama in my soul, deep to my core, and so I've had to really force myself to take a step back and say, okay, I want to objectively look at this team and how would I talk if I didn't have emotional trauma from at there. And I would love Ty Simpson. I'd be celebrating him. In a day and age when guys are always going and leaving when they don't immediately win the job and chasing other things, here's a man who has overcome years of adversity, losing out on multiple battles to now arrive at where he is at. I would love the Caden Proctor pack where they're lining up and throwing him screens or putting him in the gun and having him do wildcat quarterback runs on the goal line. Like, that's all awesome. That's all fun. I would love Caleb Moore's decision making, going for it on 4th and 8, being up 3, 4th and goal, and going for it on 4th and 3, getting the touchdown. Like, these are all elements and traits in a team that I would celebrate were it not Alabama. So I really like this Alabama team. I think you're allowed to get better. This is not the team that lost week 1 to Florida State. I do not ding them too hard for that. And the reason, because my big logic of the was Ty Simpson couldn't beat out Jalen Milroe, but now you're expecting me to believe he's going to be better than Jalen Milroe? Well, I guess he kind of is. Now, he doesn't have the maybe the peak moments of a Jalen Milroe, but what defines this Alabama offense, and this is probably also an extension of Ryan Grubb coming in for OC, is they're so consistent. They're always on schedule. Ty Simpson, that's why he's so highly rated right now, why he's the best passer rating in the SEC. It's maybe not as flashy or big play it has been in the past, but I need to look this up. I keep meaning to forget to. I want to look at Alabama's average distance to go on 3rd down, because it feels like they are consistently putting themselves in good positions on 3rd down because of his efficiency, of being on schedule, and it's translating to wins. And the other part about this, and I meant to get into this last answer as well, is we are going through a time in college football where we are suffering cognitive dissonance between how we have always thought about this sport and how it exists today, in that everybody is closer. Everybody's closer to one another. The top has come down, the middle has risen. And we actually have some quantifiable numbers here. Bill Connolly, he does the S&P Plus ratings. He looked at week 8 of 2019 and week 8 of this year, and teams 1 through 8 are about 25 points worse than they were in 2019, while teams 9 through 25 are 30 points better than they were in 2019. So we got to adjust our brains, because the thing that I hate most about I've seen a lot of recently is every team's bad. This team loses a game, they're bad. No, everybody's just good now. And we have to accept that, especially in the SEC, this season we exist in a more NFL-like structure where it's way more any given Saturday than it's ever been at any time previously in our lives.